Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review M. Night Shyamalan's new thriller, Trap. And this film focuses on Josh Hartnett, who seems to be just a father, taking his daughter to a pop concert of Lady Raven, portrayed by Salika Night Shyamalan, the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan. And it becomes very apparent that something else is going on here, and it seems like it's some kind of trap for this serial killer who Hartnett happens to be, and him trying to get out of this situation without being caught. And this film is silly. Like, this does not officially say anything about this being a comedy, but this certainly is a horror comedy or thriller comedy. M. Night Shyamalan, you can tell, is going for the tone where, like, this is supposed to be silly on some level. All of the performers are either very wooden or hamming it up. Josh Hartnett hams this up. He's like, any way he could possibly show that he is completely losing his mind or is completely evil and a monster that, you know, is hiding in plain sight. He's rocking those choices to make him seem like, wow, how can anybody trust you? You seem like you're crazy and looks like you're going to eat somebody. It's so funny because Hartnett has been through such an interesting career, and this was an opportunity for him to really stand out, and he just hams it up like crazy. And there's moments where he can be certainly intimidating, but there's a lot of moments where his choices are silly. I'll probably get more of a laugh out of you. You have Haley Mills, who plays as Dr. Grant, who's on the hunt. And Haley Mills has been around for decades and decades, and she's there to spout exposition and stuff like that. Does her job. You have a little Allison Pill. Salika Shyamalan actually has a much bigger part in this than you might expect. And I don't know if that's the best thing. You can tell she's a little charismatic, but like acting's not her forte. So feels a little stiff, a little awkward in terms of some of her performance. Now, the performances, I think a lot of people understand the assignment. Josh Hartnett certainly did, picking up this more silly and weird and campy and hammy approach to telling this story. There's really great filmmaking here. The dynamic movements of the camera and how things are framed and how things are captured on the camera and movement and everything. You can tell, like, Shyamalan really is somebody who has such a great voice in terms of a filmmaker, and you can feel that voice all over this. Now, it is silly, like I mentioned. It's not like the happening unintentionally hilarious kind of silly, but like you could tell this is having some fun with it. Narratively, like 2/3 of this film is really at this concert, and after a while you're kind of like, how much more can he possibly do to get out of this? And then the third act happens where this goes completely ridiculous. This film felt like it climaxed like 4 separate times, or at least was about to climax 4 separate times, and it's still like unresolved. And like, the more you think about this film and peel back the layers, the more you're going to think this was an absolutely silly, dumb time and find it absolutely ridiculous. There is some urgency in terms of like how some of its themes are getting across and ideas, but overall I think like Shyamalan is leaning into like, hey, I'm an auteur director, I'm trying all these things. The story, though, it just keeps finding excuses to keep going. Like, there's multiple times in the third act where it's like, okay, we're finally done. Just kidding. And how they progress those scenes onto another thing, gets really repetitive and redundant, and just how many more times can we keep going through things and, like, this killer keeps getting away? It just gets really absurd from a story and narrative standpoint after a while. That, sure, it has a funny tone, it has some thrilling moments, it has some really good filmmaking, but like this story is just so not there and really stretches its high concept well beyond its reach. But the music in the film was engaging and interesting. I am a fan of Salika Shyamalan, and it works. The performances, like I said, some of them are real hammy. You're having a good time playing them. But in the end, I think Trap is one of those kinds of films that's more middle of the road for Shyamalan. This is not one of his atrocities, but this certainly is not one of his stronger films that got more focus than this, for sure. But those are my thoughts on Trap. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in to support your Wasteland reviewer.